I haven't uploaded in a while, have I? So let's begin this video with a shot of me trying to get my bike out of extremely deep sand in the middle of the desert and on a day so hot that it would make your average English boy, me, quiver at the knees and sweat profusely, while I explain to you how I ended up in this precarious situation. For this, we need to go back in time. One day, I woke up and decided, you know what would be fun? Riding a motorbike from Australia to England. So I got on my bike on my birthday and started doing exactly that. After getting immensely moist, chased by clouds, and camping in marvellous places, I made it to Perth and threw my bike on a boat destined for Cape Town, South Africa. And when I arrived, I was promptly stranded for 3 weeks while I learned what Africa time really was, before surviving various chaotic situations and Jeffisms on the way to the Botswana border. In Botswana, I did some Botswana things, before sleeping with several elephants, and towing an Italian cyclist so he wouldn't be late for school. I then headed towards Zambia, where I almost lost my drone in a waterfall, failed to persuade some pussy to enter my tent, and hit Tanzania, where I illegally rode up Mount Kilimanjaro while flying a drone illegally, before heading into Kenya, where I smuggled my drone illegally by flying it over the border so it wouldn't get caught by customs. In Kenya, my bike got stolen by a really rubbish shipping company, and then my trip ended. So, 9 months later, I'm in Dubai. After getting my bike back, solely thanks to my amazing little YouTube community, and I can carry on riding to England to see my mum. The end. Or is it the beginning? So yes, thanks to all of you lot, I'm able to carry on this trip, and that's quite good news. While the shipping company hung their head in shame, they dropped off my bike to the hotel, and I was able to put it back together and see if it was still alive. Right, so after 8 months, 7 months, just connected the battery. If this works, I'll be bloody amazed. GG BMW, GG. Fuck, I love this bike. One thing I will say though, bike's never been cleaner, apart from a place where they've obviously put a forklift tine through the crate and hit the engine, but luckily it's a piece of shit bike and I don't really care. And sadly that's most likely the case. During the bike's time in storage, I got sent a picture of the crate, and there was a massive hole right where you see this tine mark. So all I can assume is that a very bad forklift driver decided he was going to have a bad day and make a hole in my crate, and promptly almost make a hole in my bike. Anyway, I didn't care, the bike was alive, so I started to put it back together. And after this, to celebrate, I decided to have a very cheap meal. And by the time I realised I didn't have any cutlery, it was too late. Thankfully, credit cards are still a thing. This is not my proudest meal. Anyway, after that delicacy, I decided to get reacquainted with my bike and go for a ride. So, exciting. My first time riding a vehicle on the road in Dubai. And I have to remember that they drive on the wrong side of the road, and I've just noticed that all my tyre pressures are really low. They're not really low, just BMW being dramatic. But anyway, time to get fuel and remember that they drive on the wrong side of the road over here. So I was just sat in my little hotel a minute ago, just packing my stuff ready for tomorrow. And I was trying to figure out a few places where I should possibly go. And I wanted to see sand dunes, so I wanted to do that. But one thing seemed to stick out on my quest for finding places on Google Maps. A little burger shop called Hamburghini. Now, I can't see a name like that and not visit it, so that's what I'm doing. I literally stopped what I was doing, got on my bike and left, and hopefully I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and see some sick Saudi dune action as well as visiting a hilariously named restaurant. Look, it was funny at the time, okay? Anyway, I got there, probably offended everyone working there by eating during Ramadan in the middle of the day, but aside from being a clueless tourist, I then promptly got very distracted by sandy looking roads that I probably shouldn't have been distracted by. As usual, I always seem to find myself in these weird, obscure locations in the middle of nowhere, and if this sand gets any worse, I'm just giving up and going back.
Look, I don't know why you say these things. We both know that that's not true. And now you can watch me struggle greatly with a lot of sand. Who knew the Middle East had sand?
So as usual, I found myself rather lost and on very sandy roads. Even though this is the only bit that's kind of solided up a little bit. I'm probably somewhere I shouldn't be because I feel like this is a farm because of the camels.
There is actually method to the madness here, contrary to popular beliefs. Somebody told me about a weird little town that had been completely reclaimed by the desert, so I wanted to take a look. So I started the day riding from here, all the way up to here, and then across towards the Oman border, where this place is. But being me, I decided to go the scenic route, crossing all the desert places because they looked a bit more interesting. So now you know.
Well, that was an absolutely vile drive. To be honest, I wouldn't have done it if I knew there weren't any roads. This is supposed to be some kind of ghost city, which is like an underground or buried in sand town. But to get to it, don't be fooled. This is not black because it's solid ground. This is all dusty, crusty bullshit. Well, it looks like it's all fenced in. And I've only got a few minutes of daylight left. So yeah, weird. All these houses just full of sand. Anyway, that was a small sandy town. And there's barely any daylight left. And I don't want to be riding through sand dunes in the dark. So I'm going to get the hell out of here. Documenting this for struggle purposes. Fucking hell. Any of these uphill bits. Give me Botswana sand any day. Come on, the road is right there. That is literally typical. That's the road like 10 meters ahead. And that's where it bogs me down. Alright, one more clutch dump.
Now, I'm not the most unfit person in the world, but after this, I was completely and utterly dead.
Well, if that's anything to look forward to in these coming days on this trip, not bad for day 0. Haven't even left the hotel yet.
If you're ever in the Middle East, you'd better get used to this, because it happens a lot. From here, the ride was far less eventful, because I was a tired little boy and I wanted my dinner. So I scurried back to have a shower, and it was only at this point that I realised how sandy I actually was.
I think the best thing about travelling at night during Ramadan is that once the sun goes down, the streets are empty, or the roads are anyway, because all these guys are fucking starving, so they're all going to eat what they can, while I can just cruise on the highway by myself.
After all that ruckus, literally brought half the desert back with me. And so ends day 1. Anyway, the next day is leaving day, so I packed up all my things and headed out the door, without any real plans to speak of. My only rough plan is to basically go from Dubai to the Saudi Arabian border. And it's not really as far as you think, so I figured I'd camp for one night and then carry on the next day. Or camp in Saudi. Or camp for 2 nights and then go to Saudi. Basically, there was no plan.
So all that's left to do now is just head straight towards the Saudi Arabian border, because I don't really have that long left on my carnet. Because they weren't able to renew it, it means that basically I have a time limit in which I have to be in Turkey, because that's the start of the non-carnet requiring countries, which really complicates matters. So it means that I am in a bit of a rush, but I'd rather get there before the carnet expires than let it expire and then be stuck in one of these countries for however long. So yeah, I'm playing it a little bit safe by going straight to the border in like one day. I'll probably cross, depending on how I feel, I'll see if I can cross through today, because I'm due to arrive at the border at maybe 1 p.m. So if I can get through, excellent. And then I'll be one step closer to being safer, because this shipping company did not stamp my carnet into Dubai, which is really potentially going to cause problems. But we'll see how that goes. Enjoy these marvelous shots of me driving through slightly desert highways until I get to the border. It's weirdly empty here. That's why I can get away with parking like a dickhead.
Now, without sounding completely and utterly obvious, the Middle East is quite hot. 40 degrees hot, in fact. So going back to my marvellous map plan, I decided to camp for one night before I got to the Saudi Arabian border. Obviously, I did this in my usual style, and overestimated my skills, which meant that I got lost in the desert. Again. Here's how that went out.
Well, this is less than ideal. I thought I'd maybe find a place to camp tonight. Got a bit bogged. There's no side stand involved in that. Standing up all by itself. Quite a good spot though.
I got very, very stuck, and it took quite a long time to get out again. And after all that was over, I decided to sleep here. Mostly because I was hiding from the sun. But then this happened.
Well, today's strange occurrence. I'm just sat here on the beach randomly, and then some fantastic gentlemen just come over on their little scooter, and they're like, "This is for you." And I'm like, "Wow, okay, thank you." And then literally as quickly as they'd arrived, they disappeared on their scooter into the sunset. Like this.
It literally felt like a reverse robbery. The velocity at which these two gentlemen were escaping after giving me food was absolutely phenomenal. So thanks for the food, you wonderful humans.
Bloody excellent. I fucking love the Middle East. And so ends my first day in the desert. Living proof that if something weird's gonna happen, it will, wherever you are in the world. Let's do this live. This is like 2 kilos of stuff. So it's like a chicken rice or something. Hell yeah, Arabs!
I did, however, find out that if you're looking for ladies' products in a fuel station, you'll find it next to engine coolant. Because where else would you find it? So today's the day I cross into Saudi Arabia. And this is where I received one final farewell while that shipping company had the opportunity to screw me a little bit more. But we won't talk about that in this episode. You'll have to wait till the next one to see what happens with that.